With all the talk about employee engagement, there's some really basic things that we need to do. We're talking about more humanity at work. We're talking about communication and emotional intelligence. And what we used to call the soft skills, we're now calling power skills. I love that. Hi, my name is Nancy D. Solomon. I'm the CEO and founder of WomenThink Global, and I'm here to talk to you about the correlation between disengagement in our country and employees and depression. So I want to be really clear. I'm not a doctor who diagnoses depression, but I am someone who works with people who are depressed all the time. Right now in the United States, other than in 2020, when the COVID first hit the United States and it was, we were all shut down, depression at that point was 36%. Now it is in women 36.7%, and 20.4% of all men will be clinically described as having depression during their lifetime. At the same time, disengagement is almost at an all-time low. It is at 67% in the United States. Is that right? No. I did this without a calculate. Engagement is at 33% in the United States. So 33% of your employees, that might be you, are actively engaged in their work. You get up, you can't wait to go to work. You know you're making a contribution, you're making a difference, you're doing something that's personally meaningful. Yes. But what about the rest of you? Okay. I'm going to just rewind the tape a little bit, and I'm going to start with some basics that I have developed over the last 32 years. It is my belief, and I have no clinical proof of this, so if you're looking for a scholarly study on this, you'll have to go somewhere else. I have worked with thousands and thousands of people in the last 32 years. And what I have found is that everybody is born with a unique life purpose. Just like our fingerprint is unique to us, nobody else has it. Just like in zebras, did you know that their stripes are unique to them? Every zebra has a different pattern. Same goes for parrots. I know that because I have a few, all right? So our life purpose is hardwired, deep wired into us from the moment we're born. I'm not going to go into the who's in the hows. That's a whole masterclass in and of itself. But what I have discovered is for the people who understand the importance of life purpose, for people who know what their purpose is, life is happier. They make more money. They have better sex. The quality of relationship is greater, and they make a greater contribution to the organization that they work for or to the business they own, for instance. I have never seen an exception to this. In other words, I've never seen a purpose that changed in a lifetime, and I've never seen somebody be on purpose in their work and in their life and be miserable. Now, I'm not talking about clinical depression, a little sidebar. If you are clinically depressed, get help. Get help. Because no amount of being on purpose is going to offset clinical depression that is happening in your brain. All right? So that aside, those people, and I used to be one of those people, so I feel very comfortable talking about it. We should be talking about mental health more, and we should be doing more about it. Okay, that aside, let's go back to purpose. Just like, how shall I say this? Your computer has an operating system, Windows, Mac, whatever. And before I go too deep and get myself into trouble, because I'm not an expert on that, suffice it to say that each one of us has a unique operating system, and it's operating in the background at all times in our lives, whether we're sleeping, whether we're awake. So the idea is to find out, to discover what your life purpose is. And I know it can sound all woo-woo. It's not woo-woo, okay? And at some point in the not too distant future, science is going to put their finger on the gene that determines this, or on the DNA sequence, or whatever it is, And we're going to go, oh, wow. Nancy Solomon said that way back, right? The people who are the happiest, who are most engaged, are the people who know their purpose and they align their life purpose, their values, and their beliefs with what they do for a living, how they earn their money, their careers. When you put somebody in a job that it's not their job, they can do it, but they don't love it. They're not passionate about it. They don't get up in the morning and go, wow, I can't wait to go do this, because they can wait. And those are the people who call in sick. That's why your absenteeism rates are so high in this country. Absenteeism is either going to work and just goofing off, or it's staying home when you're not sick. And you all know who you are. And it's not your fault. We don't have classes in elementary school on finances, how to balance a checkbook, how to find your life purpose, how to discover your passion. We don't teach that in school. And a lot of our families didn't know enough to teach it to us. So what we were taught is just go get a great education, and then get a great college education, and then go get a great job, and then make a whole lot of money. Right? And then at some point, and I'll tell you my story in a moment, we wake up and go, wait a minute, who created this life for me? I am absolutely so sad or unhappy or mean or angry. And it's because I'm off purpose in my life. I spent 16 years in the fashion industry, clothing. Yep. And by the time I got to the top of my game, which is a VP of sales for all of North America, I already knew I was off purpose. See what I'm doing right now, developing female leaders in your organization, creating teams. I always knew that was what I was supposed to do. I knew it from the time I was 14, 15 years old. And my parents were like, no child of ours will become a psychotherapist. So I went in and I did what they told me to do because I was dumb and young and I didn't know better, right? And I was going to get to the top, and I climbed all the way to the top, and I got pretty sick, mentally sick on the way up there, because I knew it wasn't what I was supposed to be doing. It wasn't what I was made for. And it wasn't until I was fired and I got a do-over card and I went back to school and got my degree in psychology did I really become happy with what I'm doing. So what does this have to do with you? Do not turn off this video and go quit your job or your relationship or leave the country. But what you should do is figure out what your purpose is. What is your unique operating system, right? Figure that out. Figure out what your values are, what your beliefs are, and get all of that aligned. It's almost like a chiropractic adjustment. Get it all in alignment, and then figure out how that maps back to your job. You could be in the perfect company for you, but you're just in the wrong seat. You could be a manager, but you really should be an individual contributor, because you're not really good at managing other people, and other people can be really difficult sometimes. There's 1,000 ways to get yourself engaged. But here's what I know for sure. It is not up to your manager. It is not up to anyone but you to figure this out. Nobody's going to come knocking on your door and say, so are you on purpose in your life? Well, okay, I do that. But nobody at your work is probably going to do that. You're not happy. Why aren't you happy? You seem like you're drifting off in space and you're daydreaming a lot. You want to talk about it? If you're doing the things I'm describing, it just means you're not in the right job. Or it means you need some help. And there's lots of therapists out there that are very qualified. And there's lots of coaches out there, some of whom are really qualified to work with you. So, what did we learn just now? Is there correlation between employee engagement and depression? I think so, because you know what happens when you're off purpose? You get down, you get anxious, you start to create habits to sort of make up for the fact that you're miserable all day long. It could be alcohol, it could be drugs. I did over-exercising for years. It is not normal to exercise 5 hours a day. There's a name for that. Okay, that's not normal. forget. I had to work my mind. I had to do something that I could enjoy and see the results of. So that's what I did. Now, thank God that was 30 something years ago, almost 40 years ago now. Right? But if you find yourself acting in a way that feels unhealthy, that means it is. You don't have to go and ask anybody. You know when you're happy and when you're not. Right? So figure it out. There's information all over the internet. And if you want to talk to me about it, grab a spot on my calendar. The link is in the description. It's www.connectwithnancy.com. I made it as easy as possible. And let's talk about how maybe I can help you. But in the meantime, figure out why you're here, what you came to do, and the contribution you came to make, because people who are making a personally meaningful difference are the happiest people anywhere, forever in the history of all time. Have a great day. Thank you for joining me, and I hope to see you soon. All right.